Finding 10 villains on Survivor, a show that claims they don't cast villains anymore, is quite the uphill battle. But there are definitely individuals that have been presented more negatively in recent times. But in the latest video I set a like goal, you'll hit it, and seemingly like to see me suffer through the script writing process. So if you want to see some more of the best heroes in modern Survivor, I raise you another 200 likes. I love villains on Survivor, which is why I was thrilled to see Sydney's character on Survivor 41, especially nowadays. Modern Survivor contestants are given multi-layered edits reflective of a real-life person rather than a strictly heroic or villainous figure like seen on other reality TV programs. But Sydney was unashamedly a villain. Her confessionals literally only had two types. She would either bash on someone in particular or bash on her entire tribe. That's it. She was the main person to point out the Luvu silliness in keeping the hook attached to their boat during the marooning, and had rivalries with literally Heather, Nasir, Tiffany, and Evie.
But at this point, we can live our life without Nasir, because we actually think that he can ruin all of our games.
In the span of about 2 weeks in game, mind you, Sydney wasn't afraid to speak her mind and scold others, causing her to be referred to as the quote-unquote female Tyson Apostle, which are big shoes to fill considering Tyson is an infamous villain in the franchise. And what's that, Sydney? They should subscribe to Bandit Survivor? Wow, that's something uncharacteristically positive for you to say. I hope everyone listens. Sydney also had a demeanour on 41 that contrasted many of the superfans, who were super excited to get the chance to play after COVID. For example, at the Merge Tribal Council, she said she could have saved herself by voting for Evie, but she sacrificed her vote because seemingly she just couldn't really be bothered. It's hilarious but understandable considering she starved for multiple days, her tribe lost the immunity challenge they won, and then she had to pick between Danny or Deshawn. This not really being too fussed attitude even extended to her ex-press, and I feel perfectly encapsulates Sydney's character on this season. Similar to Sydney, another Luvu member that had a fairly villainous portrayal in their edit is Deshawn. Deshawn for me is what I want out of a Survivor contestant. I don't want 18 game bots, but I want individuals with enough game knowledge to confidently know what they're doing, but have some messy moments. In Survivor, keeping your numbers is typically rule 1, although Deshawn flipped this expectation by attempting the first and only challenge throw of the modern era. With small tribes of 6, most people opt to give it their all in challenges to prevent going to tribal council, which makes Deshawn's decision in episode 4 even more bold in a format where Jeff told the contestants to expect the unexpected. In the episode, Deshawn explained he wanted to get out Erica, which we as the viewer didn't get, as Erica's edit was as purple as her hair, and what little content we did get from her presented her as a likeable, down-to-earth young lady. In actuality, Deshawn claims the eventual challenge through would have resulted in him teaming up with Erica, Heather and Nasir to take out Sydney, which is even more villainous considering the two were aligned. As the story goes, Deshawn may have also blindsided Danny to keep him as his number 1 ally over Sydney, due to the two bonding closer as the days went on. This could have been a massive move in the pre-merge section of the game, especially considering Danny helped Deshawn in trying to throw the challenge. It's villainous, but damn, I respect it. As covered with Shan last fortnight at the merge, she bickered a lot with him, and while I also said she was a villain because of it, I feel like these arguments presented neither as heroes. Shan was noted to be dismissive and authoritative, and Deshawn highly emotional plus erratic. This came to a head at the final late where Deshawn teamed up with Danny to blindside Shan with an idol in her pocket. While this move allowed Deshawn to reach the final 4 almost guaranteed, which then resulted in him making it to the final 3, Shan called his perceived gameplay out in front of everyone.
And we were all wanting to bring home a win for the black community, right? Yeah. And I felt like that hijacked me emotionally a lot of the time.
While Shan was certainly entitled to voice her opinions, this ideology really showcases that by the end of the game, a lot of people thought of Deshawn as an individual that made alliances only to flip on people out of self-preservation. That being said, from a viewer perspective, I found Deshawn's gameplay engaging, and he's featured as a returnee in many of my dream casting seasons because I think he would be fun on the return. On the topic of fun returnees, I also think Tori was a great villain for Survivor 42. To be brutally honest, I think Tori is the last pure villain we'll see on the show for the foreseeable future. Sure, there are individuals that hit higher highs than her, namely Omar that we covered last time, but in a season that really went out of their way to make everyone pretty much heroic in some aspect, I felt Tori was the one left out. Similar to most villains, Tori bashed on her castmates a lot, except unlike most people that stick to callouts from the safety of their confessional booth, Tori was renowned for instead doing it in person. Whether Zach or Swathi, both at camp or at the 2 tribal councils she attended pre-merge, or Jonathan, who she called out as being the pillar for the Taku's challenge dominance, she was out for blood. In fact, her feud with Jonathan extended into the merge, where after winning immunity, she just straight up to his face said she wanted him out. While Tori made the merge, her pre-merge was pretty crazy, as she was constantly called out by just about everyone on her tribe, and was seen as a secondary boot option at both the Swathi plus Zach tribal councils. She was on the bottom of the tribe, and let her tribe mates know this, as any time they had a kumbaya moment, you knew an eye roll was imminent.
I guess my social game is really not that good.
No, it's good.
But I'm learning.
You made allies.
Talk about enjoying island life. But I know what you're thinking, right? If only there was some way you could play a tangible Survivor game from the comfort of your own home, in your own time, with gameplay mechanics. Well, allow me to proudly introduce the sponsor of this video, Survivor Castaway Island. The game reimagines Survivor by allowing you to play as a contestant and compete in several challenges based off the actual Survivor show, like Smash and Grab or Warrior's Choice. The objective is simple: outwit, outplay and outlast, as the game combines the social politics, strategic voting dichotomy, challenge prowess and tribe usefulness all in one compact bundle. This game also features custom dilemmas, advantages, a friendship chart and exhaustion meter, showing that becoming the sole survivor will be a tough test, but one that comes with great accomplishments as a reward. Were you born to play Survivor, or will you be absolutely bamboozled? Survivor Castaway Island is available on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. You can also play with family, friends, or just by yourself to see how you would survive if you were on Survivor 46. Tribal's looming, so hit that link in the description and let me know how you get on with this brand new game. It's time to vote, and you're up. She's on the thumbnail, and probably the biggest criticism from my prior video was the fact Karla was not on it. But okay, I recovered my mistake, and now I'll give her flowers in this video. Karla started off the game on the Coco tribe, establishing a dominant power structure with her tribe mates. This allowed her to effectively obtain every bead from her tribe, as Survivor 43's test had allowed her to make an idol. While this twist was always going to make the recipients come off as villainous, I think Karla, compared to Cody, comes off as more manipulative in her attempts, and even adds in a small bit of Ryan bashing for good measure.
Personally?
Okay.
So, we'll switch sides.
Okay. That's not gonna work. I don't want your freaking shark sock.
One of Karla's closest allies throughout this portion of the game was Gio, who obtained that really well-balanced advantage called the knowledge of power. It allowed him to be able to steal an advantage that someone owned like an idol, and Karla worried that he could take her idol from her despite him trusting this information with her. So she got together with James and Cassidy, who was about to be voted out, and flipped the vote on a close ally while leaving Ryan in the dark. Coming into the merge, Karla was situated pretty well, but at the final 10 she voted out yet another ally in James while having individual immunity. After the tribe split, Karla was tricked by other contestants on the island into believing Cassidy was after her, causing her to target her and fake cry if she was caught out. And a quick side note, Karla is really good at fake crying. After being manipulated by Jesse at the final 6, she burned her idol, but still tried to get back at him at the final 5 in a fairly underrated villainous move. She approached Jesse, telling him to play his remaining idol on her, and she would vote with him, only to write down his name, attempting to burn his idol who would play on her and get him eliminated on the revote, which would have been an incredible game-winning move if she could pull it off. On the topic of pulling off moves, the final individual on this list is Emily. Now yes, Emily was set up to be the underdog at some tribal councils, notably at the Sabaya Tribal Council, but you can still be an underdog and a villain. In fact, Emily being put on the bottom was somewhat due to her own fault, like calling out Bruce 2 minutes into the game in front of everyone, assuming Sabaya and Caleb were a duo with an advantage before the first tribal council, and ending up on the bottom with Brandon, who she eventually had to vote out. But Emily was great and definitely had an innovative mind for the game, such as picking up Caleb when he was on the bottom to pull off a 2-1 blindside. She was even willing to go to rocks for this man at 3rd Tribal Council. While Emily absolutely had her blunders, she also had a pretty good social game that linked into manipulation tactics, such as her convincing Bruce not to play his idol at his boot round, which exaggerated her threat level so much that it caused her eventual elimination in the next episode. There are also some other moments like her refusing an all-female alliance, which is typically seen as a positive thing, and also playing quite a dynamic game that is more so aligned with the villain mentality. Again, while the term villain is often something people in the Survivor community get bashed on, I say it more so as a token of appreciation for those willing to break the mold. If you do want to see my top 5 video, with I guess this video being my top 6 to 10 picks, then check out this video here and subscribe if you enjoyed. Nevertheless, have a good day. Peace!